Let's get started by going over some common additives when you're working with soap. The first one I'm going to talk about is adding floral petals. And this is so beautiful and fragrant, and also if you shred the petals, it adds a little bit of an exfoliant into your skin, and it just smells lovely too. There's one thing that we need to talk about when we're working with flowers is that it has botanical bleed. What is botanical bleed? That means that it just bleeds out a little bit of the color into your bar of soap. So you almost get this halo effect that could look similar to perhaps a mold or something like that, but it's totally not dangerous. And it's just a natural process when working with the natural oils and colors in the little fibers of those petals. This is a totally natural process, but just be aware that it's going to give off this effect. One petal that works really well that doesn't really do the botanical bleed too much is marigolds, and I do really recommend working with that. You can also add marigolds into other soaps that has like sage or mint or even coffee grinds to give it a more dimensional look and color, and it just is so beautiful mixed with other elements. So I do really recommend using marigolds if you want to add that flower element into your soap. So when should you add the flower petals? You should add your flower petals right when your soap batter meets trace. This is the perfect time to add the flowers, and it's going to keep those flowers fresh and beautiful when you're ready to get them out of the curing process, and it's just going to elongate its lifetime. So make sure to add those flower petals during trace. Another common soap additive is salt, and I really recommend using pink Himalayan salt. It's a beautiful color and it's kind of chunky, so it gives off that great scrubbing ability. And of course, you can also add it with a colorant to bring out the pink, but we'll go over that in a little bit. And this is a great scrub for almost any skin tone, and it's really going to slough off any of that dead skin on your body, and it smells wonderful too. Fruits are another widely used additive in bars of soap. And these look beautiful and smell great, and of course, just like other fruits for the internal parts of your body, you know they're doing good stuff for you, especially the lemons and the other citrus fruits out there. But you should know that they do have an expiration date. Just like real food in your pantry or on your counter, it's going to have an expiration date. Putting it in the batter of your soap does elongate this shelf life, but just know that it will mold. So make sure to keep an eye on your soap when you're adding it into the fruit. And if you're selling it online, make sure you know that this has a very short shelf life so you can communicate that to your customers. Similar to fruit, we're going to talk about leaves and herbs. These are also very fragrant and beautiful smelling additives to add to your soap. Again, we need to talk about botanical bleed. A lot of these other herbs and spices do have that halo effect. Remember, it's not harmful, but if you don't like the look of that, that's something that you need to realize when working with these particular little additives. They're going to have that halo effect, and it just may throw off the aesthetic appearance of your soap. My morning routine is all about grabbing the cup of coffee first thing after I wake up. And I'm sure that you guys kind of have a similar relationship with coffee too. And why wouldn't you want your skin to wake up at the end of the day? I know I love that. So adding coffee into your soap is a great way to revitalize your skin, brighten, and keep it happy and healthy. And coffee grinds make a great additive into your bars of soap. Although coffee is not technically botanical, it does have that chemical bleeding effect. Again, it's super natural, so just be aware of that. I actually believe that the halo effect that you get from the coffee grinds looks really nice when you pair it with a goat milk base or something like that. It just looks very spotted and pretty, but that's just my personal taste. It's something that you should, again, be aware of when you're working with coffee grinds. Throughout this course, I will bring up oatmeal and how beautiful it is for your skin and how great it works for working with soap. And when you're working with oatmeal, you can choose to either have it super, super scrubby and very abrasive or very, very mild. And this all depends on how you grind up the oatmeal. If you chop it up super finely, it's going to be a very mild soap and very calming to your skin. Or if you keep it kind of rough and rigid, it's going to keep a very exfoliation type of additive into your soap. And you probably don't want to use that on your face. It might be too abrasive for that. But any way you slice it, oatmeal is a great additive into your bar of soap. Now it's time to talk about a very special soap that's often reduplicated, but it also is very, very hard to figure out if it's authentic or not. And I know I talked a little bit about a mystery soap that I'm going to discuss that has a lot of additives into it, but it's really hard to make your own at your own home. And you may be wondering, which is that? It's called the African black soap. And this bar of soap is almost impossible to reduplicate yourself. And it's really, really wonderful for your skin. It's probably the best soap out there for your skin type, for your health of your benefit of your skin, for anti-aging, a whole bunch of different things. And this is because it's filled with roots that are native to Africa. And unless you live in Africa, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to reduplicate this at home or buy it from another soap maker that's not from Africa. It's called the African black soap, but it's actually a very dark brown color. And it looks almost like it's made out of dirt or something like that, and it looks very exfoliating. And it is. But there's a lot of fake soap out there that is very, very black, and it almost looks smooth to the touch. And if you really want to get a bar of soap that's really, really good for you and you want to pay for it instead of making it yourself, I want you guys to be aware that there are a lot of fakes out there. eBay is notorious for having fake African black soap, so please make sure that you do your research. There's a lot of wonderful reviews on Amazon that have people saying that, yes, this is the real black soap, or no, this one didn't work for me. I've tried other ones before that work better. Just make sure that you are very educated on the product that you're getting. If you haven't heard of African black soap, I do recommend going out there and trying it. It's a beautiful bar of soap that's sure to inspire you to make additives into your own bar of soaps and make beautiful products for you, your friends, and your customers. The ingredients in the African black soap lists a lot of local roots, spices that are found only in Africa, and other things that are really, really found only in a very small part of Africa. And a lot of these plants, roots, and herbs and spices are really hard to get here in America, and also just hard to come by and maybe expensive to ship. And even if you do make all of these items at home, like you start growing trees that are found in Africa, it's still not just going to be the same because the water and soil here is different than in Africa. And it just produces a different amount of vitamins found in the trees locally that would be found in Africa. I know I've talked a lot about the curing process, 4 to 6 weeks, but I haven't really gone over what curing is and why you need to do it for your soap. Is it dangerous if your soap doesn't cure? We're going to go over all of these little things.